2 years ago, the NCAA fined Penn State $60 million for gross negligence, lack of institutional control, and most importantly, allowing and fostering a culture that would allow a football coach, Jerry Sandusky, to molest children on school property time and time again over the course of several years. Now, just 2 years later, the NCAA offered a settlement to the school. As a part of this deal, all of that money will now be used for charities inside Pennsylvania only. In exchange, Penn State is now reinstated as the leader in college football victories. Under the initial penalty, Penn State was forced to, quote, vacate all of their 112 wins during the Joe Paterno scandal era. He had 409 wins in his tenure as a coach, 111 after this took place. Now, whatever vacating a win means, to the best of my knowledge, the losing team in those games didn't get credit for a victory. The players still kept those stats from those games on their cards, and the fans in the stands didn't have to surrender or vacate their memories of that particular football game. It happened. The most nonsensical part of this whole ordeal is that the supposed penalty didn't even match the crime. Vacating a win is pointless. The only thing more ridiculous than the NCAA thinking they'll stick it to Penn State by stripping them of a number of in a record book is Penn State actually buying into that notion. The punishment just doesn't fit the crime. But regardless, a local politician saw this as his opportunity to step into the spotlight and embrace Penn State Nation. State Senator Jake Corman held a press conference to tell all the Penn State fans their team's status would be restored.
The reputations of many people, including one of the most revered sports figures of the 20th century, were tarnished by accusations which were not based in fact. The restoration of these victories will once again and forevermore restore Joe Paterno as the winningest coach in the history of college football with 409 victories.
Now, just a side note, if a more prominent politician, say the president, comments on a criminal case, he gets lambasted in the press because lawmakers are clearly out of bounds when they start commenting on the whole judicial process. It's not their specialty.
Today is a victory for due process, which was not afforded in this case. Today is a victory for people of Pennsylvania. Today is a victory for Penn State Nation.
Now, the senator is so deeply concerned with victory of Penn State Nation and seemingly less concerned with the victims of Penn State abuse and cover-up. Let's just agree here. The $60 million going to charities that support child abuse victims, that's the thing that matters here. But another W in the win column from a Saturday afternoon 20 years ago, that doesn't matter. It pales in comparison. But to top it all off, the Penn State hockey team was going to rub this so-called victory in all of our faces by wearing the number 409 on the back of their hockey helmets to inscribe the number of wins under Joe Paterno. Now, hockey coach Guy Godowski joined a radio show during a recent interview when the host asked him about that sticker on the helmet decals and pointed out the fact that even their new athletic director at Penn State admitted these were insensitive and insulting. The interview host asked how the victims might feel. Well, he didn't really have an answer. 24 seconds of silence. And rightfully so, because there is not an answer to that question. Not a good one anyways. After stuttering and stammering his way for nearly half a minute, the coach said, "Don't steer this conversation back to the victims. This is about the students today." So let's get this right. In the coach's mind, this occasion is one worth celebrating. In the hockey coach's mind and the state senator's, mind you, 100,000 plus fans should pack into Beaver Stadium in the fall and applaud the helmet decal 409, while 26 victims are supposed to just turn a blind eye. If Penn State University offers any classes on public relations, they should immediately remove them from the curriculum. This organization still cares more about tradition, pride, and status than they do about those victims whose lives were changed forever, and those victims who will still have to remember those memories now that this is back in the news.